Hey guys, in the last 12 weeks, I've sped up my metabolism by 500 calories. I did this through a process called reverse dieting. Now this video is not all about how to reverse diet. I made an extensive video about how to reverse diet, the ins and outs of that, step by step. So if you start watching this and think, hey, maybe I should reverse diet too, I recommend you check that video out because that will give you the step-by-step process for how to do exactly what I did and speed your metabolism up so that you not only can eat more to maintain weight, but also make it easier to lose weight, to get more nutrients into your diet, to get healthier if you're underweight or undereating, etc. Reverse dieting is a really good idea for people who have been chronically undereating, either intentionally or unintentionally, just to get your metabolism back up to where it should be so that you can actually consume the number of nutrients that your body needs to function properly. A really good indicator for whether a reverse diet is good for you or not is if you've been trying to lose weight and really struggling, or if you've been in a deficit for a really long time and it has stopped working for you and you have to keep going into a bigger and bigger deficit, reverse dieting will save your life. Since I do get a lot of questions from a lot of people about whether or not I think they should do a reverse diet, I'm going to refer you all to this video where I discuss specifically who should do a reverse diet and who should maybe consider doing a reverse diet. So if you're over here thinking, should I do a reverse diet? I don't know if it's for me. Check that video out as well. Just to catch you all up to speed, if you have not been following my reverse diet journey and don't know what a reverse diet is, a reverse diet is essentially the process by which you gradually increase calories little by little, incrementally over a long period of time in order to speed up your metabolism and usually put on some muscle mass. And that is essentially what I've been doing for the last 3 months. Now, when I started this process, I didn't really have any specific goals in mind. I did outline a few goals in my Your Summer Body Starts Now video where I talked about starting the reverse diet and kind of what I wanted to do with this. And that was basically just to push my body and see what I can do with it in 6 months, with 3 months of a reverse diet and then 3-ish months, who knows, of a cut. I did want to use this process to build my hamstrings a little bit, build my glutes a little bit to, get the booty for the bikini, but mostly I just wanted to see what I could do with my metabolism, where I could push my body. I also thought at the time that it'd be nice to be a little bit leaner for summer. I had never had any specific summer body goals before, and so I thought, it was January. It was a good time to start working on my body and really developing it to be where I wanted it to be by summer. And so I figured by reverse dieting first, putting on a little bit more muscle where I wanted to, and getting my metabolism ramped up, that it would make the cutting process for summer a lot easier. I guess my goal was essentially to put myself in a position where I could cut on my original maintenance calories, which is why I decided to start at, I think my original maintenance was 1950, and I wanted to reverse all the way up to 2,500 calories so that I could cut on 2,000 calories. And so that is what I proceeded to do. Every week I added 50 extra calories to my calorie goal. Once I got to 2,350, I jumped straight up to 2,500. Covered that a few videos ago, so you can check out my reverse dieting series for the entire journey. But basically, I ended up making it to 2,500 calories, and I have been at that calorie count for the last month. So I just wanted to quickly go through the benefits that I experienced, some of the drawbacks, as well as how my body changed, how much fat and muscle I gained. So I'll give you a little bit of a body update, as well as a breakdown of my weight change and where the different pounds may have come from. But first, the different benefits that I experienced. I really enjoyed this process for the most part, and the most fun thing for me was the insane strength gains that I got from being in a surplus. You guys know that I love lifting just for the sake of lifting, for being healthy. It makes me feel really good. But what feels even better than just lifting is getting better at lifting. I went ahead and I calculated what my theoretical 1 rep max at the beginning of this process was and what it currently is now, because when I first started, I was in a strength phase, so I was training in lower rep ranges, and now I'm training in higher rep ranges, so giving you the weight change doesn't necessarily translate. So I calculated my theoretical 1 rep max for when I started versus now. My 1 rep max for my squat went up 15 pounds. My 1 rep max for my deadlift went up 26 pounds. And my 1 rep max for my bench went up 5 pounds. And I definitely owe most of that to being in a surplus, but also to the amazing programming of Map Split, which is the program that I have been following this entire time. I'll link that down in the description for you guys as well. Highly recommend if you're a slightly experienced lifter. If you want a solid program for a reverse diet, Map Split is it. Another really great benefit that I got from this reverse diet was my digestion. You guys know I talk openly about my poop on this channel, we're gonna talk about my poop here for a second. I was admittedly extraordinarily full all the time, and so like my stomach itself wasn't an upset stomach, it was just a very, very full stomach, which was not super comfortable, but my poops, regular, consistent, really good poop texture. I'm sorry, this is too much. Basically, my poops were good. I had good poops on my reverse diet. Felt like everything was just like flowing through my body really well, not like diarrhea flowing, just like, you know, I'd eat it, it would digest, I would poop it out. It was good. Some other really nice benefits were that it was really, really easy to get my protein in. You know, when you're trying to get in 100 grams of protein, you're only eating 1,600 calories, that can be hard. When you have an extra 1,000 calories to get your protein in, it's really easy. I also basically had zero cravings whatsoever because I was super satiated all the time. So even though like I've had a ton of candy in my house, the only time I have been tempted by the candy is when I'm 300 calories short and can't think about eating anything else, and the only thing that's gonna get me there is the candy. That's the only time that like candy has sounded like a good idea. Other than that, I have just had no cravings for any sort of food, and it has felt like I've had a lot more food freedom. I just haven't had to think about food as much other than planning ahead to make sure I can eat enough calories. So that's one takeaway that I'm really, really happy that I experienced, is that I know that if I allow myself to eat my absolute fill of healthy foods, zero cravings whatsoever. So those were all of the biggest benefits that I experienced, and as far as the drawbacks, the biggest struggle for me was definitely just eating enough calories. As I said, very, very, very full the entire time. Constantly relatively uncomfortable and feeling like I was force feeding myself a little bit. Not my favorite feeling in the world. And I also did, as much as I tried really, really hard to get all of my calories from whole unprocessed foods, I definitely relied on less healthy foods a lot more than I wanted to, and there were days where I am 100% certain this wasn't just me saying like justifying eating M&Ms because I was on a reverse diet. It's like I needed M&Ms to hit my calories, or else there is no way I would have hit my calories. So I definitely did not like the fact that going through this process, I feel like it forced me to compromise my healthy diet a little bit, because I genuinely love and feel so good when I eat mostly whole unprocessed foods, and I didn't even realize how clean my diet was until I started adding unclean things into my diet more, and I was like, oh, I don't actually like this as much as I thought I would. I also feel like this process may have compromised my insulin sensitivity a little bit. I'm pretty sure going into it, I was very fat adapted. When I would just fast in the morning, go through my workout and come back, I was usually in ketosis. I haven't checked my blood ketones. That would have been a good thing to do, but whatever. But I'm pretty sure that at this point, I'm not going into ketosis as easily, because in the last few weeks, I've started to be hungrier and hungrier in the mornings, which is not normal for me. I have never been a morning hungry person. Like, breakfast is usually not something that is enticing for me, but in the last probably just 2 weeks, I've noticed that when I wake up in the morning, within like an hour, I'm hungry. And so that is an indicator that my body is basically just running on glucose right now and isn't making that switch to burning ketones. So eating this way long term might not be the best idea for my insulin levels. So with that being said, the moment we have all been waiting for, how my body has changed. I filmed a little body update for you guys this morning, so enjoy.
I see, I like, I go, I get, no one can hold me back. I see, I like, I go, I get, go, I get, go, I get, go, I get now.
I think the thing that I'm most proud of in my physique is the fact that I've been able to actually maintain some semblance of abs. Like, I was pretty sure I was gonna end up gaining so much fat that my abs were non-existent, but you know, they're still like, we got a little something something going on here. Just a personal opinion, but I think my arms have gotten a little bit bigger than I would like them to be. I may stop training them entirely or just see how losing fat affects them. This is not me asking you to compliment me on my arms. This is just how I personally feel. And you can take it or leave it. But comparing myself to where I was 12 weeks ago, I have clearly gained quite a bit of fat and my body shape has changed kind of significantly, at least visually, there is a difference. I think the most interesting comparison is actually looking back to before I did Project Comeback. Now that was after basically a year of only going to the gym 2 to 3 days a week. I had definitely put on a lot more fat than I had in a very long time, and I actually weighed less then than I do now. And I'm pretty sure now I look leaner than I did before I started Project Comeback. And so I think that's a very clear indicator that at least since starting Project Comeback, I have gained a significant amount of muscle. Oh my God, I almost forgot. I measured my glutes at the beginning of this process and today to see if they grew, since that was a muscle group I was really focusing on growing. And they have grown, I think it was almost an inch, like 3/4 of an inch. That being said, it could be that all the fat went to my butt, but I do tend to store most of my fat in my arms and my legs, so, you know, I think my glutes have gotten a little bit of extra muscle down there, which is nice. With regards to how much weight I actually gained during this process and the breakdown of that weight, when I started this process, I was 116.8 pounds. When I weighed myself this morning, I was 123 pounds. So that is a difference of 6.2 pounds. However, I will say that about a month ago, I weighed myself and I was 121 pounds. I also weighed myself like 3 or 4 days ago. I was still 121 pounds. So I don't know where this extra 2 pounds came from all of a sudden. According to my scale, it was like 1.5 pounds of fat and 0.5 pound of muscle. I guarantee you, I did not gain 0.5 pound of muscle in 2 days and 1.5 pounds of fat in 2 days. So I have a feeling that my body might actually be closer to 121 pounds, and it's just some water fluctuation due to, you know, hormonal cycles, you know what I'm getting at. But scales are generally just like a really bad way of determining progress, so we're just gonna assume that what it said today was correct, and I'm 123 pounds, which means I have gained a total of 6.2 pounds since starting this process. So where did these 6.2 pounds come from? Did I gain 6.2 pounds of muscle? Probably not. I wish, but probably not. I'm pretty sure that about 2 of these pounds is from water weight. 1 of these pounds being specifically from creatine consumption. Before I started this process, I really wasn't consuming creatine regularly. As soon as I started my reverse diet, I started taking creatine every single day. Now, as you consume creatine, you start storing more and more water in your muscles. So it's like intramuscular water. So it's not like the extra water that you would normally store, like if you're bloated or just storing extra water. It actually makes your muscles look bigger, which is pretty cool. So I have no problem gaining an extra pound of water weight inside my muscles, but that is worth noting that even if my muscles are bigger, 1 pound of that bigness is probably from water. On average, if you start consuming creatine, you'll gain about 1 to 3 pounds of water weight. Since I am on the smaller side, I'm gonna go towards, it's probably closer to 1 pound because I have less muscle mass than, you know, someone who's 200 pounds of solid muscle. They'd probably gain a lot more from creatine because they have a lot more capacity in their muscles to store water. Now, I'm also pretty sure that about another pound of this is just from my increase in carb consumption. I wrote down a little math. Hang on a second. So, before I started this process, I was consuming about 100 to 150 grams of carbs per day just because I personally feel better eating a lot more fat. I love fat. Carbs, I mean, I love carbs too, but I feel better when I eat a lot of fat. So I am now consuming, I think, about 313 grams of carbs a day. So it's an increase of about 165 grams of carbs per day. For every gram of carb that you consume, your body stores between 2 and 3 grams of water. So with increasing my carb consumption by about 165 grams of carbs, this translates to about 1 extra pound of water weight storage. This leaves us with 4.2 pounds of actual mass that I put on my body. Now, I gotta tell you, I really have no way of being able to determine how much of that was fat and how much of that was muscle. I would have had to do like a DEXA scan or something like that, and even then, it wouldn't be 100% accurate. What I can tell you is that according to my scale, like if I actually look, I have the body analyzer scale, looking at the body fat percentage and the muscle percentage, I gained 3 pounds of fat and 1.5 pounds of muscle. that doesn't add up to 4.2. So it's not exactly accurate, and I do know that that scale can easily be fooled by water. So we can't really take that at face value. Now, some other data that we have is that the average woman can gain about half a pound to a pound of muscle per month. Now, this is really gonna come down to a lot of different factors, including genetic factors. So again, no way to determine exactly the number of pounds of muscle that I gained per month. I will say though, that I was doing like everything in my power to maximize my muscle building potential. I was eating in surplus, obviously. I was trying to get as much sleep as possible. I was taking creatine. I was making sure to hit my protein goals very consistently. So if I had to guess, I would say like, it'd be great if I gained 3/4 pound of muscle per month. That would put me at just over 2 pounds of muscle gain, which would put me at approximately 2 pounds of fat gain. And honestly, as I look at my body, that's kind of what I feel like, and you kind of have to go on feel and visuals at this point. So if I had to guess, I would say I gained approximately 2 pounds of muscle and approximately 2 pounds of fat, as well as my 2 pounds of water. But even then, I could easily have actually gained 3 pounds of water. I could have only gained 1 pound of muscle and 4 pounds of fat. Like, there is no concrete way to break this down and know for sure. But that being said, even if throughout this whole process I gained 3 pounds of fat, I'm not really bothered by that, because if I can now actually cut on 2,000 calories, that means it will take me 3 weeks to lose 3 pounds of fat. And then I'll be able to continue to lose weight on 2,000 calories and make even more of a difference and end up leaner than I was when I started. You know, if I put 12 weeks into this process and it only takes me 3 weeks to lose the fat that I gained during this process, I'd say I'm doing pretty good. And I really do want to emphasize that this is just my experience and my body's response to going through a reverse diet. It is not at all necessarily a reflection of what your body would experience going through a reverse diet. I've worked with 3 clients now who, all of them, I've had them increase their calories slowly up to 500 plus calories beyond what they were originally eating. None of them gained weight. One of them has lost weight. Like, the way your body is going to respond to a reverse diet is entirely dependent on where you're starting, your history with dieting, how you're training, how you approach the reverse diet, etc. So just because I gained 6 pounds in 3 months does not mean that that is exactly what's going to happen to you. Speaking of which, I know a lot of you have gone through reverse diets, and it would mean the world to me if you would share your experience and your story with it down below. I think going through a reverse diet, especially for people who have been under eating, can be such a powerful tool to not only get your health back, but get you to where you want to be physically as well. And so if you have any success stories, like, please leave them down below so that anyone who's considering doing a reverse diet can see the amazing changes that you can experience by going through this process. So now moving forward from here, it's time to go to phase 2 of my grand plan to cut for summer, which is the actual cutting for summer part. So in my next video, I will be giving you a breakdown of the 3 key elements that I am incorporating into my cut to make sure it is a successful cut, as well as kind of just take you through generally how I'm approaching it. And then after I cut for summer, my plan is to do some sort of a bulk again, depending on where my metabolism ends up. I might do a reverse diet, or I might do more of like an aggressive bulking and then cutting, like alternating pattern, where I go into like maybe 100 or 150 calorie surplus for just 2 or 3 weeks, and then do like a week in a deficit or 2 weeks in a deficit, or I don't know. But I definitely want to focus on building a little bit more muscle, really shaping my body again after this, because you can only do so much in 3 months. Like, I barely built any amount of muscle because 3 months is not a very long time, and so I definitely want to put more time into eating in a surplus and building muscle where I want to build muscle. And of course, as always, I will be sure to keep you guys updated on that process. Anyway, my camera is about to die, which is alright timing because that's basically all I had for you today. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a big thumbs up because it really does support me and my channel, and I really genuinely appreciate it. To check out more videos about my reverse dieting process, you can check out these over here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to follow me on this cut for summer journey. I'm really excited to, you know, chisel away at the fat that I've accumulated and actually see the physique that I have built underneath. Do make sure you hit that notification button if you actually want to be notified about those videos. Share this video with your friends and your family and your cutting for summer buddies, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye.